Birdland Tonight is your place for Orioles post-game coverage for fans by fans. All of the hosts on Birdland Tonight are Oriole fans that are either writing blogs or doing podcasts about Orioles. Head on over to birdlandtonight.com to learn more about the hosts and other shows and websites that they're a part of. And head on over to Twitter, YouTube, Facebook, and Twitch and subscribe, follow, or like, whatever the appropriate thing is, to Birdland Sports. Finally, share, retweet, and tell your friends about Birdland Tonight so that we're all joined into the conversation after every Orioles game this year. We'll see you guys in just a couple minutes. Head on over to the comment sections on Facebook and Twitch and YouTube to start interacting now. We'll see you soon. Did you know Birdland Tonight is also a podcast? Head on over to your favorite podcast app and subscribe to Birdland Tonight to get the audio of this show every morning ready for your commute. Hello. Thanks for joining us. We'll get started in just 1 minute. Make sure that you have subscribed to us on your favorite social media. Look up Birdland Sports on Twitter, Twitch, YouTube, and Facebook. Like, follow, retweet, share. See you in a moment. Seven, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
All right, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Birdland Tonight. This is Cody from I Just Like the Duck podcast. You can find me at Orioles Podcast. Look, man, this was a tough one. The Orioles lose game one of a 3-game series to the Yankees, a score 4-5. It was a game that I felt like we had in hand. We traded some home runs early on. We'll kind of get into the breakdown, but I really thought that we were going to pull this one out. Maybe that's just a little bit of hope that that this team is not the team that always loses in this same fashion to the Yankees, that we've turned a bit of a corner. But no, the Yankees always seem to find these, and oh my God, is it terrible? Let's kind of get into it. Let's start out with the lineups for tonight. When we look it up on the Orioles side, we had 1, 2, 3, Cedric Mullins, Austin Hayes, Trey Mancini, and that seems to almost be written in stone each and every night. I'm wondering what you guys think about that. Feel free to leave some comments and we can jump into it. What I started wondering is, I do think that these guys are our top 3 hitters, but I wonder if there's room to change up the order, especially possibly either moving Trey up to the number 2 spot, possibly moving Austin Hayes to the leadoff spot. But is there any room to play around with that? I think that, something that the Brandon Hyde has a lot to worry about. How exactly he's gonna fit these 1, 2, 3 hitters, I think is low on his priority list. He's more worried about who's gonna bat either in the middle of the order or the late. But I'm just curious what you guys think about that. In addition to that, we have Ryan. Let's see here. Sorry, I got some feedback coming on. Looks like we had after Mullins, Hayes, and Mancini, we had Freddie Galvis, Ryan Mountcastle, and DJ Stewart batting 4, 5, 6, and then the bottom of the order, Michael Franco, Pedro Severino, which I thought was interesting. To see him so far down in the lineup, and he actually had a great night, in my opinion. And then Pat Valaika, who actually proved to come through kind of clutch as well, and we'll get into that. So that was the Orioles starting lineup. Over on the Yankees side, we saw DJ LeMahieu, who I actually learned tonight. His real name is David John LeMahieu. Luke Voigt back at first base. Aaron Judge. Gary Sanchez actually DHing. His struggles kind of continued. Clint Frazier at left field. Brett Gardner in center field. Miguel Andujar at third base. Kyle, and I know I always struggle with his last name, Higasho Ika. Nope, didn't even nail it. And then Tyler Wade playing shortstop. Gio Urshela actually came in and pinch hit. He actually ended up, he sat out most of the game. They had commented about how he had some knee issues, but he came in and actually ruined the day for all of us. So, hey, great. We've got some comments coming in here. Early on, some folks starting to talk about Travis Lakins. We'll kind of get to that. Yeah, absolutely. So let's kind of get into this. The first thing that I wanted to talk about, non-game stuff. Look, I thought the camo night stuff was cool. I thought that the Orioles hat looked a lot better than the Yankees hat. Oh, we got a Yankees fan in here. That's new. Hello to you, Pablo. So the camo night I actually thought was cool, especially for the Yankees catcher, Kyle Higashioka. They all get I feel like the catchers get something extra special. Their gear is always a bit more spiced up for whatever theme night they're having. And I really thought that Kyle's catcher's mask was pretty cool in that army green with that gold copper. I'm not sure anybody else caught that, but just something fun to look at. Let's see here. The other thing that I thought before the game started is that this is probably the best possible lineup given who's on the roster right now. Especially given that it's, who else? We don't have Anthony Santander, more on that. But I think that having Pat Valaika probably better than any of the other choices that we have in Rio Ruiz or Ramon Urias. I'm not sure if defensively that's the case, but I don't think that Pat Valaika made any worse plays. He was serviceable and came in clutch in a couple of hits. But yeah, curious what you guys think about that as far as the lineup goes. I know that a lot of us were really thinking, I know I was hoping that we might see Jami Jones get the call up. Turns out he was not held out of the Norfolk Tides lineup in order to make his Orioles debut. He's just going through kind of a small little injury, and it looks like maybe he might go on a 7-day IL or something like that to get a little bit of rest. Which begs the question, why are they not calling somebody up? If it's not, a healthy Jones, why not a healthy Stevie Wilkerson or Richie Martin, Ryland Bannon, somebody to give these guys a boost. We're all begging to see, somebody come up. I would love to see Austin Wynns come up. Yeah, I get that he's older. I get that he's already had his shot in the bigs. But at this point in time, I just don't think that Chance Sisco's cutting it. Every time he's in the lineup, I'm just not real comfortable with that. So it would be great to see if, we could get that. I kind of noted down a few keys to the game that I thought we really needed to hit on before the game started. One, we needed to have, and this is the Josh Soroka factor. The Orioles need to have more hits than they do strikeouts. Let's just kind of take a look. Let me refresh my screen, make sure I got the latest in the box score to see if we actually had more hits than strikeouts. We had 7 strikeouts and 9 hits. So we did pass that test. So that's not what let us down. Secondly, I think we needed to see an aggressive Dean Kramer. That's something that we saw in his last outing and something where, he performed extremely well. And you know what? I think I don't think that you can put this one on Kramer's shoulders. He pitched 5 full innings, gave up 5 hits, 2 earned runs, struck out 4. They were 2 home runs from Aaron Judge. That was, I hated that. I didn't mind the fact that the next time he came up to bat, we just walked him. I think that was a smart move. That should have been an intentional walk. But I'm just not sure how that plays, with the team when you're kind of giving up on a guy. But Aaron Judge was obviously locked in. But let's kind of talk a little bit about the game. What do you guys think about Cedric Mullins stealing stealing second in the first inning? It's something that obviously didn't pay off because he got caught. And then, as soon as he did get caught, Austin Hayes hits a home run. It could have been a 2-run home run, but instead, it's just a solo home run. I don't know if Cedric Mullins, being kind of the base running beast that he is, if he always has a green light. The game's early at that point in time. We were down 1-0 as Judge hit his first home run. But curious if you guys have any comments on that. The more I thought about it, the more I thought, hindsight sure would have been nice to have him on base when Austin Hayes knocked one over the fence. But I'm okay with that. Man, we're getting a lot of Yankees fans in here and some the Florida Pool Man. So this is going to be a fun conversation. Hey, I would love to bring back Buck Showalter. I'm a huge Buck Showalter fan. So if he's willing, I'm not sure about the rest of Birdland, but I wouldn't mind seeing Buck Showalter back in an Orioles dugout. The 4th inning. So that was the first inning. The second and third innings I thought were pretty clean by the Orioles. Nothing by our bats, but really in the middle of the order and the bottom of the order, I didn't expect a lot. When we look at kind of who did what on the Orioles side, let's see here. Mullins had 2 hits. Austin Hayes, obviously 1 hit, that's nice solo home run. Trey Mancini with a nice base hit, and then DJ Stewart, a 3-hit night. All it took for DJ Stewart to get going was the threat of Anthony Santander finally coming back, playing out in Bowie. And I did actually see some stats come up. Let me see if I can pull this up. Anthony Santander was 1 for 3 with a single and a run down in Bowie. And I'm curious. I wonder if you guys know, why would he go down to Bowie and not Norfolk? Is that just because Bowie's a lot closer to Baltimore than Norfolk? I'm wondering if anybody – I do think that that's common, but I'm just wondering why. Let's see here. Yeah, let's talk a little bit about Ryan Mountcastle. Ryan Mountcastle had 3 strikeouts, continues to struggle. He's currently batting .212, on base percentage at .236. I mean, I know that this has kind of been going on for a while. Mountcastle struggled, and then he kind of had a brief period where he was getting on base, and he put together kind of a run of a lot of base hits, but nothing of that was really power. I think he did have 1 home run up in Seattle. Lots of guys here are Buck Showalter fans. Hey, keep the comments coming. We're gonna jump to some of these, including all the Pablo, the Yankees comments as well. We'll jump to some of these. These are gonna be fun. let's see here. So yeah, DJ Stewart had a hell of a night. That was nice to see because I think he's been struggling. It's going to be interesting to see. He's kind of got a last week before Anthony Santander comes up and takes his job back in right field. And so this is really DJ Stewart's last chance to impress the coaching staff and show that, look, he still belongs here. He can still be a platoon guy. So we'll see what happens. Here's where I thought that it looked like Dean Kramer was starting to get a little bit off the rails, and something that, we typically don't see Dean go too far past the 5th and 6th. I don't think he's been into the 7th at all this year. Definitely no one other than John Means has pitched the 8th and 9th. But, I felt like he got a little bit of lucky, which is what the Orioles need. There was that bunt pop-up, but he just didn't see as sure of himself. And I don't think he was as aggressive as he was early in the game. But that was the top of the 5th. He still managed to kind of get out. And at that point in time, the Orioles were still tied 1-1. The bottom of the 5th was really exciting. What I really liked is when, after DJ Stewart got on base and you had Pedro Severino, I think that was after, again, Michael Franco popped out. But you've got DJ Stewart on third base, Pedro Severino at the plate. And if anybody knows situational hitting, you would think it's going to be the catcher, because the catcher knows what it's like to be on the other end there. He knows that if he's sitting behind the plate, what kind of pitch is he going to call? And that's where I thought that Pedro probably took advantage of that knowledge and hit just a nice, solid drive down the left field side, bringing in DJ Stewart and getting that run going, that inning going. It was nice because soon after that, we actually saw, and Pedro actually ended up on second base. That was a nice, really nice double. And I'm not sure if anybody else noticed this. I used to notice this with Hanser Alberto. I think it must have been around the same kind of armed forces theme, where Hanser Alberto had a left arm camouflage arm sleeve. He must have had a big game or a big weekend when they were wearing camouflage, because he wore that for the next year and a half. And I noticed that Pedro Severino was wearing his pink Mother's Day gloves, which looked, they looked good. And I think if Pedro's going to continue to hit RBI doubles like that, he's going to keep wearing those pink batting gloves. So it'll be interesting to see how far those go. And then we saw Pat Valaika step up to the plate. And what I liked about Pat Valaika is that, as tough as it has been for Pat Valaika, he's been around the league long enough. He's a smart hitter. He got completely wiped out in his first at-bat in the 3rd, but came back and learned from that, had much more patience at the plate, and then was able to drive in Pedro Severino on a run, getting us, on the scoreboard, an additional 3 runs. We're now leading the Yankees 4-3 after the 5th. And then, we started getting in some trouble. I thought it was interesting that Adam Plutko came into the 6th and only pitched 1 inning. He did have, he immediately walked Aaron Judge, no problem with that. And then we got a nice double play. But then comes Cole Sulser. And, I have it in my notes here because I wanted to ask you guys, has Birdland forgiven Cole Sulser? Cole was kind of that up and down guy. He had some issues with closing out games last year, and then come to find out he actually had a cut on his foot that never healed, and it was causing him to have bad performances. He just kind of wasn't getting in there. But interesting what the rest of Birdland thinks. Cole has been exceptionally well, or pitched exceptionally well. If I pull up kind of where the Orioles have kind of sit, Cole Sulser up until tonight was sitting at a 1.42 ERA. And actually had a win. I'm not sure which game was that. He's only pitched 12 2/3 innings, given up 9 hits, but only 2 earned runs. But he did not have his stuff tonight. And so that was kind of a bit rough watching. It would have been nice I would have liked to see Adam Plutko go another one before you bring in Cole Sulser, just to give you a little bit more breathing room for the rest of the night. Because after that, to kind of bail out Cole Sulser, we had Travis Lakin Sr. come in. And as soon as Travis Lakin Sr. came in, I thought that when he came in, he looked a bit loose. He looked like having a good time. He's, not cheerful, but definitely a a very different demeanor after Gio Urshela pinch hit home run that put the Yankees on top 5-4 and ultimately lost us the game. After that, it looked like he was very angry, and when he was angry, he actually pitched very well. And so that's something that I'm going to look for the next time I see Travis Lakins come in. Is he angry? And if not, can somebody like throw rocks at him, because he seems to pitch a lot better when he's angry. That's really the game. I thought that we might have a chance there at the end. DJ Stewart again got on base, but unfortunately Michael Franco hit into a double play, and that kind of killed that off. And then Pedro Severino popped one out to the right field, and Luke Voigt caught that, and it was game over. But interesting kind of what you guys think. Is it Travis Lakins that really lost this game? Is it, again, another night where the Orioles just, obviously we didn't score enough runs? And when is this going to end? I mean, let's see here. 9 hits, 4 runs. It's not something that I think that we can sustain and be competitive in the AL East. And I know that we're all kind of waiting. Anthony Santander, good news. He's doing his rehab assignment down there in Bowie. I'm not sure if everybody did. I was really hoping that we might see Jami Jones or some fresh blood. I think we need to see somebody come up just to kind of give this guy give this team a fresh look. And we just really didn't see it tonight. Let's see here. Let's see if we can go through some of these comments and kind of talk about some of these things. I'm not sure how we can show this, but Jimmy asking, can we strap Travis Lakins to the Cole Sulcer rocket and fire him into the sun? Yeah. Let's see here. Pocket Watch. I don't think this game says much about the manager, but you missed it. But I appreciate the feedback. Let's see here. Yeah, let's talk about that. Was Hayes sent around third, or did he go on his own when he got thrown out? Because he got thrown out by a mile. And I have the same question, because I think Tony Mazzolioni has made some of these. I don't know what's going on the third base side. We've kind of had a lot of guys go and get caught. This wasn't the first time. When was that? So that's a good question. I don't think he should have gone. It wasn't close. So I don't know what we do there to kind of get that. Is that just more? I know that Tony Mazzolioni is new for the Orioles. Is that a bad call on his part? Because you're right. He was, or I would like to go back and see a replay and see a wider angle and see if they actually sent him. Was that something that Austin Hayes just decided to do on his own? I just don't know. It was nice to see this, the Orioles get a little bit of luck. That was also kind of in my keys here. We needed to get a little bit lucky on defense. We saw that on both sides of the ball. We saw Cedric Mullins with a diving miss, but Clint Frazier didn't know that he missed it, turned to run back to first base. And fortunately, Austin Hayes was right behind Cedric Mullins. Those guys play so well together, man in the outfield, and was able to kind of get the ball really quickly into second base, and Clint Frazier was out. So that was nice to see a little bit of luck actually fall on our side. And again, Jimmy also asking, is it too late for Project Bowie? It's interesting because we're going to have to make a decision with Anthony Santander. Now, I was really hoping that it was going to be a brief stint for Anthony and Bowie. I mean, just let him play a game or two and come back. When you look at the Orioles schedule, we just finished that series up in New York. We've now got 3 games at home against the Yankees, for the weekend. And then we have a day off. I think that's Monday. And then Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, we've got a home series against the Rays. Hey, what a great time to bring Anthony Santander back. But what I heard on the broadcast was, no, it might not actually be until next week. So maybe, we've got a 3-game series next weekend down at Nationals Park. So maybe that's when they bring Anthony Santander back. And what's going to be interesting is everybody just assumes that Ryan McKenna gets sent back down. But you know what? The way that Ryan Mountcastle is playing, I wouldn't be surprised if Ryan Mountcastle got sit down for a little bit. I feel like it's a confidence issue for Mountcastle. And if he can just kind of get a couple weeks where he's back there hitting 400, 500, knocking a few home runs, because we've seen him do it before, and it's just he's struggling right now. The base hits that he is getting is a lot of kind of bloop singles. He did have kind of the one giant home run earlier this week, but other than that, it has not been a great stint. Or a great couple weeks for Ryan Mountcastle. Let's see here. What else do we have here? Over on Orioles Twitter, they're talking about the other candidates that the Orioles had looked at when they were looking at Brandon Hyde. Guys like Chip Hale, Mike Bell, Manny Acta, Mike Redmond. Again, I'm not sure if you can really kind of throw Hyde under the bus for this one, But yeah, let's kind of go through this. Hyde's ultimately in charge, I think, of kind of hiring the coaches and managing the coaches. So, this failure of Hayes getting thrown out at home, that falls down ultimately on Hyde's shoulder. The buck stops there. That's him. Is he managing the bullpen correctly? Is he making the right calls in bringing in Sulser? Where was Paul Fry tonight? Obviously we didn't get a chance to see Cesar Valdez, but maybe we should have. That's going to be something that it'll be interesting to monitor in the couple coming weeks on. I've also been begging for him to change up the lineup a little bit. One, move around Austin Hayes, Cedric Mullins, and Trey Mancini. But I know it's not his call, but bring one of these young guys up. Maybe start Ryan McKenna out in right field and see what he can do. Kind of tough to say after the night that DJ Stewart had, but maybe you DH Austin Hayes and let Ryan McKenna play out in left field. I don't think that Ryan Mountcastle is really doing much for you. At least he didn't tonight as a DH. So we'll see. So tomorrow night, again, game 2 in this 3-game series against the Yankees, we're going to see Jorge Lopez, who I think Jorge Lopez, throws a lot like Dean Kramer. He's really aggressive. You're probably not going to get more than 6 innings from him. But at the same time, he's not going to give up a lot of runs. It's going to probably be a lot similar to what we saw from Dean Kramer tonight. Maybe a single shot home run, maybe 2. But I think that we're really going to kind of need to see the Orioles do something to give him some run support. And I don't know where that's going to come from, right? There's only so many opportunities that guys like Trey Mancini, Austin Hayes, and Cedric Mullins get until you see some type of performance out of Michael Franco, Freddie Galvis. If you're not going to trade these guys, they're really just kind of placeholders. And if they're placeholders and you're not bringing up guys like Rylan Bannon or Richie Martin now, then that's just kind of a clear indication that look, you don't want the service clock to start on guys like Rylan Bannon. And we've talked about that before on some other podcasts. Service time manipulation. Matt Soroka had a really good point that that probably doesn't happen except for guys like your very top prospects. So guys like Adley Rutschman, and as well as Adley seems to be doing down there in Bowie, I don't think that he's probably I would love every Orioles fan would love to see him come up, but probably not ready for that quite yet. Let's see here. Looks like that's all the comments we had for tonight. Pocket Watch is a big Showalter fan. Florida Pool Man, I appreciate you stopping in. And yeah, absolutely, we would love to bring back Showalter. It'll be interesting to see. I'm not exactly sure who the Yankees have on the mound for tomorrow night. I think that it's. Nope, I have no idea who it is. So let's take a quick look. Again, facing off against Jorge Lopez. And the Yankees are kind of interesting because they've got half or most of their coaching staff came down with COVID. I don't think that Juan Carlos Stanton came down with COVID, but Gleyber Torres did, and he was vaccinated, which tells you a little bit about just kind of COVID. Just because you get vaccinated evidently doesn't mean that you're going away. So it's Domingo Germán on the mound for the Orioles. Not real stoked about seeing Domingo again. The last time, if I remember right, the Orioles faced off back in April. He pitched 7 full innings, only gave up 3 hits, struck out 6. Let's hope that we can do a little bit better in our performance tomorrow. That's all I got tonight. You guys, thanks for tuning in. Be sure to tune in tomorrow. We'll have somebody leading our post-game show. You guys take care. Good night, Birdland.